Good afternoon or evening, depending what time you're watching this. Thanks for clicking on to the Tuesday, the 13th of August edition of Vogan's European Outlook. Before we continue with the video, you know the script by now. Like or subscribe, and if you can, both would be much appreciated. Hope you're having a good day so far. We have a series of frontal systems moving in off the Atlantic that is eventually starting to clean out the atmosphere. That did produce 34.8 Celsius yesterday, the warmest day by far of 2024. But I wanted to look back at the monthly increments so far. So this is off the CDAS 0.5 data. You can see here that June was firmly below average, not just for the UK and Ireland, but down across France and Iberia as well. Then looking at the month of July, we continued with that cool theme for the UK. We started to warm things up a little bit more over Iberia. And finally, the first near 2 weeks of August is looking like this here. We are seeing that change taking place. The next 7 days, according to the CFSV2 weeklies, is looking like this here. So we have got the firm positive NAO signal with a deep negative up towards Iceland, strong positive to the west of Iberia, and generally we have a westerly airflow. Now that constitutes a cooler than average theme for the majority of the UK according to this model, which is quite interesting, especially up across the northwest, closest to low pressure, windiest, wettest, and most unsettled conditions. Always the further south you go, the warmer, drier, and more settled it tends to be. Look at Europe here. We're still continuing to see this very warm anomaly. It has been the hottest or second hottest July on record for, I think, the majority of Europe, if not the whole of the continent, especially down towards the Balkan region, Greece, Turkey, where wildfires are continuing to be an issue. Looking at precipitation for the next 7 days, looks like this here. So we've got wettest in the west, driest the further east you go. Looking at the ECMWF total accumulated precipitation, and you can see here the general westerly theme with wettest in the west, driest the further east you go. Notice here we've got a slice of relative wetness from Cornwall up through the capital and into parts of Essex and southern Suffolk. This is the rainfall, by the way, up until Sunday the 18th at 0600 UTC. We also have to keep an eye on the tropics. We do have quite a strong MJO phase 1 into 2 into 3 showing up at the moment here, and that is going to see a change, a little bit of a kick within the global atmosphere going forward. But we also need to watch out for the prospects of Hurricane Ernesto. Now, it is currently a 45-mile-per-hour tropical storm. It is expected, and all the models generally have good consensus at having this turn to the north into the western side of the Atlantic Basin. And it's what influence does that have on the atmosphere going forward? That is going to be the key. It's been alluded to back on Saturday during the Tropical Outlook, and the past couple of days as well. I've been talking about this. Looks like Bermuda is in the firing line of this system, expected to become a hurricane over the next couple of days here, and then move north, and then eventually kind of in a northeasterly direction. And you can see the general models indicate that we have a Category 1, if not Category 2 hurricane. Just a couple of outliers indicating a Cat 3 system developing here. This is off Tropical Tidbits, Levy Cowan's website here. A tremendous website when it comes to tropical weather. And obviously I use Tropical Tidbits a lot for the videos. So we'll watch and see what happens. These were the highs yesterday. 34.8 at Cambridge was the hottest day of the year for the UK. Big contrast, you notice here, only upper teens in Loch Liscarnock in the Northwest Highlands versus the widespread low 30s in the southeast here. So quite a hot day across the southeast for sure, but we are seeing temperatures coming down. Only the upper 20s. I say only, that is obviously a bit of a drop compared to what was seen back yesterday, but much fresher conditions going to be starting to push in from the west. We've got a relatively deep area of low pressure for the time of year, not that far to the northwest of Scotland. That is going to increase the wind. a frontal system, the next in a series of fronts, pushing from west to east, cleaning the atmosphere out. Each frontal system that moves through is going to increase that fresh Atlantic flow once again, and it's going to clean out the atmosphere over the southeast in particular over the next few days here. Looking at the temperatures as of this morning, so the minimum temperatures, it dropped actually relatively fresh, especially across the north. Notice here that we dropped to 5.3 at Altnahar. I think Vogan Weather HQ dropped around 7.3 this morning, so a relatively fresh start under clear skies. Speaking of those clear skies, this was sent in to me by a neighbour here, so this is actually just in my own street. The aurora last night, a tremendous display of the aurora across particularly northern areas of the UK, but even down across the southwest, down across Devon and Cornwall, we've seen some amazing displays of the northern lights. But this was up in Edmonton, where I live, captured during the early hours of this morning, and obviously those clear skies allowed the temperatures to drop off quite nicely overnight. And it looks as if we are over the next couple of nights, especially under those clear skies and lighter winds, the temperatures will come down. We could see some localised mist and fog patches, temperatures down to around 3 or 4 Celsius in a couple of spots. So a relatively fresh start tomorrow morning. Then we'll see the next band of rain moving through with an increase in wind. And that is generally the story over the next week or so. But it's all eyes on Ernesto. What it does as it moves north over the Western Atlantic Basin, we'll see what influence that may have later down the road. So let's have a quick look and see what the GFS ensemble is looking like here. Let's go to the Atlantic view and see what's indicating at the moment. I've not actually looked at this so far, so it'll be as interesting for myself as it is for you to see what the outcome will be. So just bear with me a little second here. So let's have a look at the jet stream winds here. So these are the 200 millibar winds within the ensemble. And obviously we've got Ernesto that's going to be lifted northwards here. You would expect it to invigorate the jet. There's the jet stream becoming a little bit more invigorated here. And then as we go through the course of mid to late week, we've got quite a strong jet rushing across the Atlantic, across the UK and right across the central swathe of the British Isles here. And this is what's going to push out the heat. Notice that the jet takes a little bit of a jog to the south here, which indicates that we will see that fresher conditions will stay on the kind of slightly cooler side of that jet. And generally, it looks as if we've got a westerly flow. And that has been the forecast all along for the month of August by myself. A generally low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south type of situation. So let's have a look and see what the GFS operational is indicating. If we go to the mean sea level pressure chart and show, so let's go back to the here and now. We'll skip back slightly. No, we haven't actually. Right, so this is for Thursday. So a couple of days from now, there's Ernesto. As expected, the model does take it to a kind of turn north. Then it moves across eastern side of Newfoundland, rides around the top of the mean area of high pressure over the central Atlantic, and then eventually moves into the UK and Ireland as a fairly deep area of low pressure centred just to the south of Iceland. Long way out, so obviously this is going to chop and change quite a bit. But it's interesting nonetheless that it does send this feature right the way around the mid-Atlantic high, catches a ride in the jet stream and then moves towards the UK and Ireland here. And that essentially is, again, what I've been saying all along, all the way back to the end of May. I said that the tropics are going to become a big player during the month of August in particular, and that is the case here. So we'll watch and see what happens over the next several days. So stay tuned, like, share and subscribe, and I'll hopefully be back again tomorrow with more. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. Bye for now.